Hey kids, it's July 9th, Thursday. It was generally a calm day, but for some reason, I had difficulty focusing on work. I still made good progress on a few important things. But lately, I've noticed a pattern. I take things to 90%, and then completing the final 10% becomes strangely difficult. I have some theories about that, but that is a topic for another talk. Something much more exciting happened today. I think the younger one of you properly walked for the first time. Not just one or two accidental steps. You moved from one place to another, perhaps 6, 8, 10, maybe even 12 steps. Most probably, within a few weeks, you'll be walking more than crawling. That is how change often happens. One small step, then another. Then suddenly, something that once seemed difficult becomes natural. And that connects beautifully with today's topic, habits. We'll have many conversations about how habits are built, maintained, connected, and sometimes replaced. But today, I want to make this personal. I want to share 10 habits that have helped me significantly, physically, mentally, emotionally, and professionally. Some have been with me since childhood. Others became important later in life. I am not saying that you should copy them exactly. Habits are personal. What matters is understanding what a habit gives you, then finding a version that fits your own life. 1. Negative visualization. We've already spoken about this. Negative visualization means briefly imagining that something you value is no longer there. Not to frighten yourself, not to become pessimistic, but to wake yourself up. When I imagine losing my health, I appreciate my body. When I imagine life without you, I immediately want to come upstairs and hug you. When I imagine losing the ability to walk, see, hear, or breathe easily, ordinary life suddenly feels extraordinary. I seem to have done this naturally since childhood, long before I knew it was connected to Stoic philosophy. It helps me feel grateful. It also reminds me that many things we call disasters are actually temporary discomforts, inconveniences, or disappointments. Perspective makes life lighter. 2. Walking. I have walked regularly for as long as I can remember. Even during periods when I was overweight or not in my best physical condition, I still walked. Walking is exercise, of course, but for me, it is also thinking. Problems that feel stuck while I am sitting often become clearer when I move. Heavy emotions become lighter. Ideas appear when I stop forcing them. Sometimes walking feels almost like therapy. It helps me calm down, process what I am feeling, and return to myself. Remember this. Not every valuable habit needs to be complicated. Sometimes one of the best things you can do is simply put on your shoes and walk. 3. Drinking water. I have loved drinking water since I was a child. Again, this sounds very simple, but many important things in life are simple. Your body needs water. Your energy, concentration, mood, and physical performance can all suffer when you neglect basic needs. This habit represents a larger lesson. Before searching for complicated solutions, check the foundations. Have I slept? Have I eaten properly? Have I moved? Have I had fresh air? Am I breathing calmly? Have I drunk enough water? Sometimes we think we have an enormous emotional or life problem when our body is simply exhausted, hungry, tense, or dehydrated. Respect the basics. They support everything else. 4. Dreaming about the future. Since childhood, I have often imagined myself in the future, standing on a stage, building something, giving a great presentation, celebrating with friends, living differently, becoming a better version of myself. I still do this, not because I believe imagining something will magically make it appear, but because what you repeatedly imagine influences what you notice. What you notice affects the opportunities you recognize, and the opportunities you recognize influence your actions. If you see yourself as someone capable of learning, you try more often. If you imagine a better future clearly enough, you become more likely to walk toward it. Many things I once imagined eventually became real. Sometimes reality became even better than the dream. So dream, but then move. A dream without action remains a fantasy. 5. Trying new things and learning. Since I was young, I have loved understanding how things work. Technology, devices, ideas, systems, anything I could examine, test, or question. That curiosity has stayed with me. Trying something new does not always require a major life change. It can mean learning one new word, taking a different route home, testing a new tool, reading about an unfamiliar topic, asking a better question. Life changes constantly, technology changes, the world changes, other people change, and you will change too. If you stop learning, you may become trapped inside an older version of yourself. Be careful with the sentence, "I already know." The more often you say it, the less likely you are to listen. Stay curious. Learn from people who succeeded and people who failed. Learn from people older than you and younger than you. Learn even from people you disagree with. Learning is not only collecting information, it is expanding who you are. Those are the 5 habits I feel I have carried since childhood. The next 5 became stronger later. 6. Eating in a way that supports me. I wasn't always disciplined about food, and I'm still not perfect. But over time, I learned how strongly food affects energy, sleep, mood, concentration, and health. I now try to eat mostly simple, nourishing food and minimize heavily processed foods and refined sugar. The exact diet is less important than the principle. Food should support your life, not control it. I also learned that a good habit is easier to maintain when it is enjoyable. If something feels like punishment every day, it will require constant willpower. And constant willpower is not sustainable. I didn't improve my diet overnight. I changed it gradually. One small decision became normal. Then another became possible. That is usually how lasting habits grow. 7. Waking up early. For the last few years, I have usually woken up around 5 in the morning. 5 o'clock itself is not magical. The value is the protected time. Before emails, before meetings, before messages, before the rest of the world begins asking things from me. Those early hours allow me to think, read, prepare, exercise, or simply sit quietly. Starting the day that way helps me feel less rushed and more intentional. It gives me the sense that I am meeting the day rather than being chased by it. You may not become early risers. That is not the point. But I believe everyone benefits from protecting some quiet time, a part of the day when life is not only happening to you, but you are actively shaping it. 8. Reading and listening to books. A few years ago, I became unhappy with how little I was reading. Then I began listening to audiobooks regularly. That changed my world. Books give you access to other minds, other lives, other mistakes, other centuries, and other cultures. A book may teach you in a few hours something another person spent decades learning through pain. Audiobooks made this easier because I connected them to habits I already had. I listened while walking, driving, or traveling. This is sometimes called habit stacking. You attach one habit to another. Walking becomes learning. Driving becomes learning. Exercise becomes learning. And slowly, habits stop being separate actions and begin forming a system. 9. Checking my breathing. At some point, I realized that when my breathing becomes shallow, everything else becomes harder. My stress rises, my patience falls, and when my patience falls, I become less like the father, husband, colleague, and person I want to be. Sometimes my body behaves as though I am under threat, while I am simply answering emails. So I try to notice how I am breathing. When it becomes shallow or tense, I slow it down. Sometimes I use box breathing, breathing in, pausing, breathing out, and pausing again. Breathing does not solve every problem, but it creates space. Space between emotion and reaction. Space between stress and behavior. Space between what happens and what you choose to do next. Sometimes, a few seconds of space are all you need. Number 10. Monitoring my health without becoming obsessed. I use devices that track things like sleep, heart rate, temperature, and breathing patterns. I also have regular health checks and blood tests. I find the information useful, but there is an important balance. Awareness can help. Obsession does not. The purpose is not to let numbers control my mood. It is simply to notice possible problems early. Many things are easier to improve while they are still small. Better sleep, more movement, healthier food, less stress, medical support when necessary. Taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is a responsibility. Your health affects the people who love and depend on you. Your energy affects the room. Your presence matters. When I look at these 10 habits, I notice that they are deeply connected. Walking gives me time to think and listen to books. Books help me learn. Learning improves my decisions. Food and water support my energy. Waking up early creates time for preparation. Breathing helps me regulate stress. Health information helps me notice patterns. Dreaming gives me direction. Negative visualization gives me gratitude. And gratitude makes the whole journey more meaningful. That is how habits become powerful. At first, a habit looks like a small action. Over time, it becomes part of your identity. You don't only walk. You become someone who takes care of their body. You don't only read. You become someone who learns. You don't only wake up early. You become someone who prepares. You don't only breathe consciously. You become someone who pauses before reacting. Your life is not shaped only by enormous decisions. It is also shaped by small things you repeat. A glass of water, a walk, a page, a breath, a meal, a quiet morning. None of these looks dramatic in the moment, but they accumulate. They become your foundation. And I want to be honest about something. I do not practice all of these perfectly. I have habits I still need to improve. I have habits I should probably leave behind. There are days when I fail to live according to my own standards. That is part of being human. Habits are not about perfection. They are about direction. You will miss days. You will fall back. You will become lazy. You will stop doing things that were helping you. That does not mean you have failed. The important thing is to return. Return to the walk. Return to the water. Return to the book. Return to your breathing. Return to the person you are trying to become. Perhaps that is the most important habit of all. Not never falling, but returning. Again and again and again. So when you begin building your own habits, start small. Make them simple. Make them sustainable. Connect them to things you already do. And allow them to gradually become part of who you are. Because habits are one of the quietest and most reliable ways to build strength, calmness, curiosity, gratitude, and love into your life. And do not ever forget, I love you both very, very much.